Hey everybody, and welcome back to another deck tech. Today's deck tech is Praise Kefnet. If you're unfamiliar with the series, it's where I take an Amonkhet god, play 3 copies of him or her, and also play 3 copies of their monument and build a deck around those cards. This time around, it's Kefnet. So before we get into it, make sure to check out our sponsors over at flipsidegaming.com. If you order your Magic singles at their store using my promo code GREAT at checkout, you can get 10% off of your purchases over $10. You're saving money while supporting me and my show. Alright, let's get into it. Let's start off this deck like I've done with all my Praise God decks, with the god and their corresponding monument. Kefnet the Mindful and Kefnet's monument don't seem to synergize with each other very well, and they don't, but they are both very good in their own retrospectives. Kefnet is a 5/5 indestructible flyer that has an activated ability of drawing us a card. Yes, his requirement of 7 or more cards in hand is quite hard to fulfill, but we'll get into how this deck solves that problem in a few minutes. On the other hand, Kefnet's monument looks and appears to be the worst of the monument's cycle. Its cast trigger doesn't even tap the creature. It has to already be tapped. However, I did not find this card good in that way, although that stayed tapped ability can sometimes be useful. Big blue creatures tend to be better than most big creatures in my opinion, well, with the fact that they're flying most of the time. Although the big flyers are hard to play a lot of the time because they cost so much. However, Kefnet's monument fixes that. We're running a Sphinx package in the deck. My first deck tech of Amonkhet was mono blue Sphinx tribal, and I made it first for good reason. The deck is surprisingly good after I revisited it. It's only good for one reason though. Unesh Crow Sphinx Sovereign. This card is bonkers if it's kept alive. Not only could it cost 5 mana with a monument out, but it makes our other Sphinx cost 2 less on top of that. Oh, and even further on top of that, every time we play a Sphinx, including Unesh, we practically draw 2 cards. It's our solution to everything in the deck, making our big flyers cheaper, drawing cards for Kefnet, and making Kefnet's monument really stand out. Our Sphinxes that are following Unesh are Sphinx of Magosi and Glyph Keeper, which Glyph Keeper is hard to kill, and Sphinx of Magosi, while being a welcome 2017 card, is still really strong. Drawing cards for 3 mana while buffing itself is an upgraded ability of Kefnet's, and that's very good. The greatest parts of these cards are that they all benefit from costing less, which both Unesh and Kefnet's monument do. If you still don't believe in the power of Unesh and the monument combo, I don't know what to tell you, other than watch my gameplays on this deck in the following days. There you'll see some great examples, including this one. This Sphinx costs 3. Oh, we can't play a land. We can go Brawl. Oh, we already have a Brawl. All our stuff is so cheap. It's so stupid. Sphinx. Sphinx of Magosi for 3 mana. Whatever. We get more card draw. Ooh. Just keep it coming, man. Give me the card advantage. Give me the card advantage. Give me the board. Give me everything. Just give it all to me. This is a problem for him. Sphinxes aren't the only creatures we're playing in the deck. We're playing both Brawl, Chief of Compliance, and Torrential Gearhulk. Thought cheapening creature wasn't enough? I've thrown in Brawls to cheapen our spells, as well as give us looting abilities whenever we counter something, which obviously a mono blue deck is going to do. Torrential Gearhulk was an auto-include in the deck. Being able to recast spells and be one of our many late-game beaters. But you know why I love Gearhulk in this deck more than I do in others? Because he can cost 5 mana with a monument out. For 5 mana, you get a 5/6 flash that recasts the spell for you. Alright, we can play a land and then Torrential Gearhulk and leave up a mana for Cycling Censor or Negate. It's pretty good being able to fit this many spells. Like, originally, I could just play Gearhulk and that's it. But now I could play both Gearhulk and leave up a counter spell, which is actually really important against a deck that might run a mass bounce spell when we're about to win. Like, I don't know. I feel like just this alone justifies me playing Kefnet's Monument and Brawl, Chief of Compliance. So why am I putting so much emphasis on cheapening our creatures and spells? Well, our deck has a relatively high creature curve, if you couldn't tell. Without cheapening our creatures, you'll spend a lot of turn 5s and turn 6s saying, I want to play Glyph Keeper, or I want to play Unesh, but I only have 1 mana left, and I really need to leave up a counter spell. By giving ourselves cheaper creatures and cheaper spells, we essentially let ourselves play on curve later in the game while also leaving up our counter spells. It essentially is buying ourselves more lands, if that's how you want to think about it. Now let's move on from the creatures and talk about the non-creatures. Our counter package is simple: Essence Scatter, Negate, and Supreme Will. Pretty standard. Let's move on to our other two spells, which are Gale Strike and Glimmer of Genius. Gale Strike lets us return big creatures while also replacing itself with a card. I usually play this in my Kefnet's decks as to temper with our opponent's tempo while keeping our main focus on Kefnet at bay. And obviously Glimmer of Genius as selective card draw. Lands are again 8 deserts, 4 of each alike, and 16 basic islands, for a total of 24 lands. Our sideboard is simple as well: Censor for aggro, mid-range, and tempo decks, Commit to Memory against really anything, Crooked Condemnation against graveyard strategies, River's Rebuke against mid-range and tokens, Unquenchable Thirst against aggro, mid-range, and Unsummon against aggro and mid-range. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe if you are new. Our next deck tech will be Praise Hazoret, which will close out our nice series here on the Amonkhet Gods. After that, I will have 5 more deck techs for the standard before we hit Rivals of Ixalan. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you for the gameplays in the following days.